But appreciate everybody jumping on. Tara, do you want to kick us off like you always do?
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining. This is our last Dash ECHL webinar of this season. So Dash is going to cover some end of season activations as well as playoffs, some stuff going into the off season, and just some tech updates and stuff they have on their end. So Jonathan, I will let you get started.
Okie dokie. Let two more people in. I gotta get my screen laid out here so I can let Brandon in and Andrew in, and then I can hit the next buttons. Or maybe we just wise up and figure out how to make this an automatic thing for the next one. Okay, cool. So everyone can see my screen. We're good.
Yep.
Nodding. Okay, cool. Right on. Well, as we always kick off, we have an enter to win for a $100 Starbucks gift card. So I'll leave this up here for a couple seconds, and then I can get into the agenda as well. Um, I have this set until, yeah, the bottom of the hour. So someone will get an email, and feel free to raise your hand if you're that person too. Just Carson and I can get talking, and we totally forget about it. But anywho. Give you 5 more seconds. All right, sweet. Well, thanks for everyone for joining us today. Quick little agenda for us. You can kind of read through some of these things yourself, but I think the most important thing is just to get a real quick recap on ECHL teams in the season so far. And then we're in the season of like playoffs, end of season. A lot of teams are selling end of year jerseys, home, away, alternate, and then some summer programs that we've seen successful here for a lot of teams. But if there's something on here y'all want to talk about, really the next 55 minutes is for y'all. So take advantage of this time, ask us questions, stop us. If you're thinking about something, there's probably someone else on this call who's thinking the exact same thing. And if someone's got a question and someone else has a solution, let's definitely share that with everybody. But let's kick it off. We've got quite a few slides to go through, and Carson and I are going to tag team this. I think everybody knows our team here, but just in case, I've got everybody's email at the bottom. Everyone knows Carson. She sits shotgun with all of y'all for all your activations. Jake, we have him in the dungeon today, getting out all the accounting reports so we can get everyone their proceeds as quickly as possible. And then Nicole, who she handles all of our communication, so emails, push notifications, ads that she sets up for our MVP teams and their activations. Everybody's pretty friendly, and I think everyone knows we've all been on the team side. So, quick ECHL stats since May of 24 compared to down below. I think that's like is that like a 10 or 15% increase so far with another month to go? So I'd imagine like ECHL teams will probably get to maybe 20% growth, ending up around like 2.1, $2.2 million by the time April wraps up, maybe even more. Um, Moving on here. Current revenue leaders. Carson loves to share this stuff. These teams averaged 189,000 so far for the season. That is extremely impressive. So congratulations to all of y'all. We kind of share these numbers too because a lot of teams they wonder like what success looks like. And so just having the hard numbers, it's a little easier to picture like where do I need to get to? What do I need to do? To get to this point too. But we also track transactions too. Transactions are important. Um, there's a lot of things like that are happening on game days and game day activations, away game activations that are really helping teams transact more dollars. And just remember too, like every time someone makes a transaction, it's their name, their number, their email, where do they live. It's a qualified lead. If these are in-game activations, Dash will tell you who is and who isn't in your venue. So those are depending on where your funnel goes of how you get people in and where you put them to get them in your sales escalator. It's a great place to start. There's many out there. But all of our teams are using all the functions of Dash from raffles to enter to wins. Auction is obviously the money driver for a lot of people. Instant purchase items for merch, game experiences, Chuck-a-Pucks has been a big one this year too. But anyways, let's get to the meat. Prepare for playoffs. You know, everybody's trying to squeeze the most out of the end of the season. What we find is 30-40% increase on some of these items from what is sold during the regular season, whether it's like a mini stick, a jersey, a goal scoring puck, collectible items. This is the most emotional time of year for everyone, really. We do have teams too who like they get to the next round and they're like, oh my gosh, we need to sell some tickets. One way to do that, post up a round one collectible sale, take those funds and donate them to, tickets for kids, tickets for troops, wherever you might be able to place those to get the butts and seats for those games. I know it's always a quick turnaround for playoffs. Carson, you jump in here too. If you've got some good ideas and things that you're hearing, we can knock those out. We do have quite a few slides, so we'll try to keep it quick for everybody. But everybody, please feel free to, raise your hand or jump in the chat.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure. I think right now, especially like if you're aiming towards playoffs, the narrative on social media kind of gets to be a little stagnant because, I mean, ticket sales are so hard. You don't know if you're playing next weekend until game seven, right? And so it's like every social media post is buy tickets, ticket link, ticket link. So if you can just change that narrative a little bit, and maybe it is what the Providence Bruins did, is like $25 got you a t-shirt and it donated a ticket to a nonprofit organization. So kind of just again changing the narrative a little bit.
Cool. And everyone can get a hold of us too. I mean, we're happy to work as hard as y'all are this time of year to squeeze as much out of the season as possible. So, end of season, I think one of the most common mistakes teams will do is like wait 2 or 3 months to sell their home and aways after the season's ended. It's just kind of a mistake because the emotions with the fans have gone, right? They've slept 60 times in between, and hockey's not always top of mind. So doing it when fans are emotional right after the season, that's where we see the best results. For comparison, we have a partner in the AHL. They're in an amazing market, a very wealthy market. First year in the league, all of their jersey auctions are like 50, 60, $70,000. They go all the way to the Calder Cup. They lose in the Calder Cup. A month later, they have their home and away jerseys, and you would think like, holy smokes, inaugural season, like all these other jersey auctions absolutely crushed it, and they only did about 40% of what they were doing on their jersey auctions in season. So just keep that in mind. Time and urgency and emotions drives a lot of sales for folks these times of year. But clearing out your merchandise as well, locker room cleanouts, anything you want to touch on there, Carson?
Yeah, I think kind of on that same note, a lot of teams are already requesting home and away graphics right now, and kind of doing what Atlanta did earlier in the season and just like fans don't know if you're going to win or not right now. So you could put up your home jersey auctions and just say like pick up at the end of season, let that auction close middle of April, and then you could fulfill those at the end of the month.
Yeah, you can always extend that end time as well and put something in the details. If we make it to the next round, we're extending the end time. Great stuff. Yeah, love that. Everyone's doing fan appreciation as well. Lots of different ideas from fan packs to just collectibles and stuff that was sitting in the locker room. Locker plates do well. Anything that you've run with promotions, um, all sorts of things. So just keep these up top of mind.
I think fan appreciation is really good for enter to wins too, because it's kind of a last ditch effort before sales across the summer. So like fans are bought in right now, they're engaging with you. It's the last game of the season. There's quite a bit of hype. Like maybe it's one giveaway from every giveaway night or a mini plan for next year or something, but just like get as many leads as you possibly can for your sales department across the summer.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. And all those folks have already been to Dash as well and like given their name, their number, their email for that enter to win. So as you go into the summertime, you've got a bucket of fans who, are relatively familiar with what you're doing on Dash, what the opportunities are out there. And then outside of like the home and away jerseys, just setting up summer series and having some consistency. So if you don't want to sell, 100 items this week and 100 items the next week and 100 items the next week, maybe you space that out. Keeps your team top of mind, keeps revenue coming in top of mind. But there's a lot of good holiday opportunities as well to latch onto. Whereas you may have a regular old Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this summer, and you've got your 5 to 6 items. That's kind of your rinse and repeat. But then when July comes around, could become a Christmas in July activation. So lots of things you can do. I think Carson will probably agree, like framing your sales around the holidays, like Easter baskets on Dash are pretty poppin' right now. So the more you can frame around the holiday, it just helps in the initial sale and getting people across the finish line.
Yeah, I think my only note for this is like you definitely got to be a little proactive right now because I remember talking to teams last year in like July, August, September, and the main feedback was, well, I don't have anything signed. So now, while your players are in town, go out and buy a couple backpacks, knowing you're going to do a back to school auction in August or some lunch boxes or a Mother's Day vase or jewelry or something, but just kind of plan ahead a little bit for some of those upcoming items. Get as much as you possibly can signed now and then just set yourself up for the summer. Um, I would say probably, Jonathan, you would agree that like 3 or 4 years ago, teams kind of fell asleep in the summer, but as of the last
Hey.
2 years, like it's another 5 months of like
Nope.
big time revenue. But not only on like the item standpoint, like obviously you're going to be selling and auctioning these items, but it's sponsorship opportunities as well. So the big one that popped off last year was like Summer Series presented by X sponsor. It's a $2,500 or $5,000 sponsor that's getting social media posts every week. They're getting emails. They might get a mailer. Like they're getting all these eyeballs on Dash. So just kind of bring that up with your sponsorship department too, that there is digital sponsorship inventory across the summer.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's amazing how much of just kind of these basic sales are starting to happen. Like Carson said, like 3 years ago, teams went to sleep. Summers, it's really ramping up in the off season for all of it, not just hockey, like baseball too. Another point that we'll bring up towards the end here is like even on game days and away games, we've had a tremendous increase in teams running activations home and away. Summer's no different. So 24/7, 365 kind of thing nowadays. Okay, cool. I'll skip over this one. So just some basic like 101 that's gonna help you extract additional revenue, especially with the home and away jerseys that are landing on Dash right now. Like you don't need to put all 30 jerseys up at once or close them all at once. If you stagger groups of them strategically, for example, you traditionally close your auctions at 8 o'clock in the evening time. Have group one end at 8. Have group two end at 8:05, 8:10, and 8:15. If you stagger some of your players that maybe aren't as popular towards the later groups, you'll get more dollars for those jerseys just because there's less available at that time and people are willing to drop more on the bigger players early. Really easy way to increase your revenue 10, 15%. It's also a convenience factor for fans. I mean, imagine if you're bidding on 3 or 4 jerseys in the very last moments, you can get outbid. So just a little tip
Do
there.
you Do
Go
you
ahead.
care if we call do you care if we call Colby out on that? Sorry, Colby, to just like throw you into the fire here, but if everybody hasn't met Colby, Colby is awesome. He is in Utah. He's probably one of the most organized people I've ever met in my entire life. Since he's started, he has kept a spreadsheet of every single auction that he has done, and he has like put down how many clicks, how many bids, and he's like analyzed all this data. So Colby, I don't want to steal your thunder, but do you care to touch on like from not staggering your auctions to now staggering your auctions and what that looks like?
So when I started in September-ish, so like our first auction that we did for our Dia de los Muertos jerseys, I think those went for like in total 8 grand. And then in the new year, I think they've started going for at least 10,000 each time we've done a jersey auction. Um, so there's that difference in staggering them versus not staggering can get you like 2 grand at least. That's what it shows for us.
For sure. And then the clicks too. Like, will you touch on that a little bit? Because you were actually analyzing the data from like round one to round three. And there was less clicks into round three. Is that right? But there were more bids in round three than there was in round one and two.
The first round, I think we saw like that's when you see the most unique people that click on like, oh, we're interested in this jersey, that jersey. But then as the rounds go on, so sometimes we have 3 groups or 4 groups. Typically that second and third group will increase in the number of people that actually like bid or convert. Um, that's what we've seen. So definitely just goes to show that having them staggered is beneficial.
Amazing. Thanks for jumping off the IR there and handling that. To wrap that up, I just think there is a lot more of an adrenaline rush in group three because these fans have already lost in group one and two, and they're like, I'm not gonna go home a loser tonight, right? Like I've got to win something. That's when they start throwing a little bit more money down to win. So
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I guess maybe some people are having trouble pressing the show button. Is that the story with this slide?
yeah, I
Cool.
added the visibility toggle in there. If you guys should be getting emails when you go live. It'll say like either like congratulations, Allen Americans, your auction is live, right? If you're not getting those startup or those ending emails, please let me know and I'll make sure that you're getting those. Um, in that email, the first line will say action required. It'll be like, congratulations, action required. If you see action required, that means that your auction is not visible. So Nicole and I are not sending out push notifications to your fans. We're holding those. We're waiting until you actually go live. So when you see that, there's a visible toggle there. You can kind of see it in green. Jonathan, I don't know if you can kind of point at it with your mouse a little bit, but just make sure that that visibility toggle is green if you want it to be, right? That means it's live. Fans can bid on it, they can see it, they can buy it. There is pros to keeping it hidden. That's kind of Dash 2.0 if you wanted to run season ticket holder specific auctions or Dash user presale auctions. I know Orlando takes like 1 or 2 jerseys out of every auction and does those just for season ticket holders. So, pros and cons to the visibility toggle, but just make sure that it's green if you want it to be or red if you don't. And then the second slide, I don't think a lot of people know this, but you can turn certain items off as well. So if there's ever the possibility of like, I don't know if number 4 is going to play tonight. Coach said it's a lower body injury. He's not being very specific. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Right? You can just go ahead and build out that item and have it listed on Dash and then just turn that one off. Like click the visibility toggle to hide that one. Um, the admin portal works perfect from your mobile device, whether it's Safari or Chrome or whatever it is you use. So as you're sprinting around the concourse, grabbing the national anthem singer, running down, you look down at warm-ups and you're like, holy crap, number 4 is actually playing. You can very quickly just toggle that on as opposed to running back to a laptop or an iPad and having to build out an item. Or
Really?
in some cases, maybe Jason Prout has to step in and play goalie. And we got to get Jason's jersey. I keep waiting for the Prout
That would
jersey
be
to come up
fun.
on Dash.
Has there ever, I know there's been like third or fourth string jerseys or goalies jump in, but have they ever pulled anyone from like the office staff and been like, hey, we really need
Bloomington. Jason did.
really?
Yeah.
So cool. All right. Yeah, we have got to get that.
There he is. Where's the Prout jersey?
What
That's what I
is,
want to know.
They didn't let me keep the jersey. I had to give it back.
Oh man.
oh, we
Oh
will,
man.
whoa. We know people who might be able to get you that jersey on this.
Okay. Okay, we'll see.
That's awesome. Did you win? How many goals got behind you?
I kind of got picked apart in warm-ups, but after that I sat on the bench and I was very content being just there. So
Oh, yeah, yeah. Getting picked apart in warm-ups is better than getting picked apart in the game. So you're living the dream. That's awesome. All right. So Carson, you want to take over here real quick? We're kind of zooming through here.
Yeah, I put this on here because I imagine if we pulled this room right now, you guys would be shocked to know that every person in here is in a different department, right? We've got people from sponsorship on here, we've got people in tickets, we've got people solely dedicated to merchandise or marketing or community. And that's what their organization is using Dash for. But truth is, like you can use it in every department, and I think that room shows that, or this room shows that. So as you're sitting on your roundtable Monday morning meetings, like you can run tickets on here, you can run marketing, you can run community, and this is kind of a platform for everybody. Um, and then the next couple of slides, Jonathan and I just put together some ideas of like, well, you say you're the merch person, you're like, well, you say we can do ticket sales on here, but like, what do I take to my ticket sales department? What do I tell them that they can do, right? So, ticket sales ideas we had teams last year. This was kind of a new idea and it exploded. Was the Indy Fuel was one of them. I don't think Sam is on here, but they listed penalty box experiences for every single game this year. And it just turned Dash into a catalog of like fans would log in, they would scroll, they would find the game they're going to, they would click penalty box experience, and they would click buy. Um, Fans, you guys may have noticed this. We've been hearing this, but like nobody wants to pick up the phone to call and order something anymore. Like, would love your guys' feedback, but I don't think anybody picks up the phone and is like, hi, I want to buy a group ticket for my son's birthday. Like, they literally go to your website and they type into your contact us form or they click buy now. So that's basically what these teams have turned Dash into is like a digital ticket rep. And it's just a catalog where people can buy some of these experiences. We've seen teams do it with penalty box and bench sitters, Zamboni rides. Um, Kid captain is on there for the IFL. And that's a little trickier in hockey because they have to be able to skate unless you roll out a carpet, but I think there's some ways around that. But the one we really want to highlight, and I know we've talked about it before, and we've probably talked about it too much, maybe, but is the Seats for Kids sale up in Rockford. If anybody is in tickets on here, definitely keep this in your back pocket. What they did was they just took a ton of leftover inventory. I think it was mostly jerseys, but they put it all up for auction. All of the proceeds from that auction went back to buying tickets throughout the season. So they dumped $15,000 in their group sales bucket in June, literally in the off season. And then all season long, they are donating tickets to nonprofit organizations or fill out your kids' day game, your school game, and send a whole school to the game or whatever. But yeah, Jonathan, I don't know if you have anything to add on tickets.
That one is the one of the best
Yeah,
ideas we've had that's made the most money. And I mean, it just makes sense. Like you're just moving money from one pocket to the next pocket and still putting butts in seats. It's a phenomenal idea. I expect them and many more to do it again this summer.
great.
Okay, cool. Let's keep it rolling. Community. Use your
Yeah.
map. I'll let Carson. Carson, that's you.
Yeah, I did in South Carolina have to put the mascot costume on. I think maybe we all have at one point, right? It's like, welcome to the team. Guess what? You get to be the mascot for the birthday party this weekend. Everybody's got to do it once. I did it twice. Anyway, a lot of feedback I heard last summer was, well, we don't have any players, right? Like, I want to do a Mother's Day thing. I want to do a Father's Day thing, but nobody lives here anymore. Use your mascot. We had so many teams doing flower deliveries for Mother's Day or pumpkin pie deliveries on Thanksgiving with just their mascots, and you can sell those types of experiences on Dash. Same with Kids Club. I mean, so the Savannah Ghost Pirates sold over 100 memberships to their Kids Club last season on Dash. Um, Again, kind of bringing it back to the jerseys for kids or the t-shirts for tickets, but like use items that you find in the storage closet and use that for fundraising. Um, and then just another one is let your fans get to know the players. And I think that there are so many examples of this. I've tried to share a few. Nicole, I think, has tried to share a few, but player painted pumpkins for Halloween or player painted dog bowls. I know the Indy Fuel did that a few years ago. Um, Player designed Christmas ornaments, just like whatever you can do to like show on social media, these players having a good time. You're letting your fans get to know them, their personality, and then putting those up for auction. I think it was Worcester earlier in the year. They did the trend where they took like baby photos or kid photos of the players and they recorded the interaction of walking up to the player with this like really old photo of them. And the player's like, oh my gosh, where did you pull this out of, right? Like, how many years back on Facebook did you go to find this gem? They signed the photo, put the photo up on Dash. So just some fun, like interactive ways to make money, but also like engage more people on social media.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking too, like it's totally possible Savannah had another point of sale for the kids club somewhere on their website. It's just knowing where the eyeballs are going, and you could have three or four different points of sale for the kids club, and they might even have that at like their merch stand, for example. Scan the QR code and boom. Uh, but and kind of you were talking about Indy too, like they leave it up all season long. This Davies Kids Club was up all season long. There's a lot of teams that leave stuff up on their dash page all season long. When y'all get your recap emails, it tells you like how many people have gone to that activation. Most fans are getting to your pages through your team URL, so they have an opportunity to scroll through all the cool things that they could do to interact or purchase from your club. So if you're already sending 1,200 people to your jersey auction, this can live on that same team page as well. So you'll probably pick up a few sales there as you would bids on your auction. All right, moving on, Nicole or Carson. Sorry, I don't think Nicole.
Nicole, you want to take over?
Getting
Merchandise sales, right? We got some merchandise warriors on here who just absolutely crush it, but we've seen teams sell merchandise stand gift cards around the holidays. Maybe that's a Mother's Day um, merch store gift card or Father's Day merch store gift card. You get $20 to the team store for $15 on Dash, or however you want to position it. Um, these teams are absolutely crushing it with consistency. So they're doing like Dash Mondays, Throwback Thursdays, an item of the game, Flashback Fridays, whatever that is, and just listing one or two items from the merch store um, every week. I think that where you deter like where it becomes different from merch to Dash is the signatures, right? So you're selling hats in the merch store, just take one of those hats, take it down to the locker room, get it team signed, put it up on Dash. And I guarantee that one team signed hat is going to pay for the other 100 hats that you bought. And then it's just all profit from there.
Yep.
Um,
Very true.
something we have seen as of recently that is just, again, absolutely crushing it. I probably sound like a broken record. We only put good ideas on here, but um, is pre-sales or be the first to own. This has absolutely exploded the last few months, and what teams are doing is like be the first fan to own this jersey. So you go live with your military jerseys on Saturday, like put one up on Wednesday and say you can be the only fan in this jersey at the game on Saturday. And fans are paying a ridiculous amount of money just to be the super fan. Same with merchandise. Like you're putting in orders now for playoff gear. Put together one playoff hat, one playoff tumbler, and one playoff t-shirt and say, be the first fan to own 2025 playoff gear, the first fan to own team signed playoff gear, whatever that is. But um, that always does really well.
Yeah, I mean, this probably started happening like in January. We saw a couple SPHL teams like for their specialty jersey auctions. They're like, be the first one for Margaritaville, first one for Peanuts. And they were making bukus of money. And Carson started putting it in her communications, and so did Nicole. And there's a lot of teams jumping on board. There's just something about gotta have the first one that really resonates. Mystery bundles do really well this time of year as well. End of season sales, instant purchase items, $25. There's 100 available. There's two signed jerseys in here, but most fans are going to get a small trinket item. Those do really well this time of year. All right, Carson, you want to keep rolling and we can get to the in season stuff?
Yeah, I remember team side back in the day, July, August, September, we start thinking about opening night, right? And it felt like on our social media platforms, everything was a ticket link. And I'm sure you guys all know what that is like. And it's like home opener tickets here, buy your tickets here, buy your tickets here. And it's just like so repetitive that like there's just so many ideas to just again break up the narrative, whether that's an enter to win 2 tickets to opening night and collect all of the fan data that's interested in tickets to opening night and then re-hit them with some secondary marketing. Or one of our favorites that we've seen is a like he's back or player signing auctions. So welcoming players back to the roster. Those are some of the best post engagements that you will get across the entire summer. Is like, welcome back to captain. He's signed on for another 2 years, right? Click here to bid on his items and just have like all items signed by that player. Um, Change up your links. Birthdays are really big. If you've got player birthdays across the summer and you know it, like get some items signed by that player now and say, hey, it's June 25th. Happy birthday, Nicole Nielsen. Click here for items specifically from that player. Again, just kind of break up the narrative and back to like the community relations stuff too of player painted dog bowls or players going to read books. The the Cleveland Monsters, I think, did player signed records. Like it was their favorite record. The Rockford Ice Hogs did players' favorite books, like kids' books, and had players sign like their favorite kid book. Um, so again, just some creative ways to break up the narrative on social media a bit.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, I'll take over some in-season best practices here. There's some basic ones, right? But like just adding more jerseys. Jerseys are the number one seller on Dash. They're typically the highest ticket item as far as dollar amount. There are some unique things like, some of these goalie masks will go for like $3,000, $5,000 at a time. For the most part, it's jerseys. If Cincinnati does a good job of this, Tulsa does a good job of this. Um, Teams used to sell 28 jerseys at a time. Now they're selling 40 at their specialty jersey auctions. And these are like blank jerseys, team signed, forward, defenseman, goalie signed. Um, just adding more jerseys will drive more transactions and dollars for you. Oh, this is more than jerseys. Yeah, helmet auctions too. There's some hockey teams out there in the juniors. They won't wear these during the games, but they will wear them during warm-ups. These do more than a lot of the jersey auctions that come through Dash. It's not something you can do like every single year, but they have done well. They're basically player painted. They go to some type of community effort. Broken sticks, gloves, the whole 9 yards. Socks are not the biggest money maker, but you'd be surprised. Fans do drop some dough on socks. We wanted to talk a little bit about Tahoe too. Um, and it's not that like they made $1,500 on one item. The I think the talking point here is that they've actually set themselves up for success because they're consistent with their goal pucks. And for this one in particular, first hat trick in team history. Probably never would have been able to sell that in the moment like they had every other game and yield $1,500 for a puck if they weren't already doing those things. When we first started Dash, like one of the ideas was like special moments happen in sports over and over and over and over, but we weren't there to capitalize on those moments that get people out of their seats, high-fiving neighbors, hugging their best friends, and giving them the opportunity to take a piece of that moment home with them. So just being set up to be able to do that is pretty much half or 75% of the battle to getting big dollars. You just got to be ready to go and have that opportunity available for folks. Away games. I was telling Carson earlier today, like it used to be several years ago, like we'd have like one or two away game activations and they would do well. And so in our sales pitch to teams to get them to do more, we'd say, hey, on St. Patrick's Day, if you're on the road, let's get you some green St. Patrick's Day locker plates, which is like a once every year type activation, right? Teams started doing more. They're like, well, that was cool. Why don't we do it 15 more times? Um, there's SPHL teams doing jersey off the back for like $800 at away games. The Buffalo Bandits in the NLL, they run home and away games, and they're traditionally bringing in $1,200 for the away stuff. This Route 66 mini stick, I think that one brought in like 2,200 bucks. So now with digital and fans being more acclimatized to buying things on the internet and on their devices, having something up during a home game is absolutely viable. And it's a great talking point to get fans tuned into like the actual game and the weekend and the away, and maybe use it as an opportunity to sell tickets for the next homestand. So it's a proven thing is really kind of the point here. And don't be afraid to try those things. Concourse tables. A lot of our best teams, I mean, they set this up every single game. They have a routine throughout the week. Mondays, they take these items down to the locker room. This is every Monday. Take the items down to the locker room that they want signed. Um, Take pictures of it, pick it up at the end of the day, get it to social or send it to Carson to get graphic designs done. Then they go up on Dash every Wednesday. And then when fans come to the homestand, they're on display at the concourse table. Traditionally, it could be staffed with a ticket salesperson who's there to create relationships with fans. Um, it's a great way for fans to pick up items. When we last summer, when we were building our fulfillment tool for pickup and shipping, it was amazing how many fans actually waited until the next game or the next homestand to pick up their items. This is a fantastic place to do this. Guaranteed giveaways. This is another great idea that popped up. Florida, I think, was the first team that did this. Every team runs promotional nights where like there's a door prize, like first 4,000 fans get a bobblehead, a t-shirt, a pennant, a kid's mini jersey, whatever that may be. Um, Florida said, well, shoot, if you don't want to wait in line and you still want this item, well, for $100, you can get the item, skip the line, and show up when you want to. And there's only 50 of these available. Something like, what was it, 50 or 35? They sold 35 at 100. And sold everything out in like 24 hours. So we're like, oh man, we should probably do this again. So they did it again, and same thing happened. Are there other teams running this too, Carson?
Erie did skip the
I,
line. I know a couple teams are talking about it for fan appreciation, but I mean, just with this, I guarantee every person on this call has been approached on the concourse on a giveaway night and have been asked, like, do you have one more for my grandkid? Right? Like, yeah, I see a couple people nodding, like, yeah, 100% been there, right? So, like, instead of just giving these away for free. It's like, well, sorry, Susie, if you can't get here and wait in line for doors and you really want one for that grandkid, like you can buy it for 20 bucks, right? We'll hold one back for you, but there's a cost to that. Um, to me, like I already have a list of people in my mind that would buy it every single time. So as you're planning across the summer and you're looking at your giveaways, like just add 30 or 40 more to your order and plan on selling those for 30 or 40 bucks.
Yep. You don't have to open it up to the whole world. Sell 50 and then you've got 1,500 bucks, and all you got to do is sell 50 at $30. They'll probably sell pretty quick. Okay, let's keep rolling. First fan activation. We already talked about this. If you want to be the first one to get this jersey, go to Dash. Game day activations. Of 181 hockey teams, 37% are running an activation every week. That is pretty impressive. I mean, it just kind of shows like you gotta be doing these things. It's basically like you turn the lights on, you start running these types of activations too. What I can say, we obviously track our revenue and track our transactions here at Dash. Um, but the thing that's doubled in our business this year is teams selling game day activations like jersey off the back, first goal pucks, chuck a pucks, away games. Um, that's kind of all I have to say. But this stat is pretty telling. That's pretty awesome. Good job getting that one together. Video board announcements. This is a new tool on Dash we introduced at the beginning of the season. So we have teams selling birthday announcements. Hey, I want to honor a loved one who was in the military, things of that nature. Player send-offs. This one is Carson's. Carson will let you own this one if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, one more note on the video board announcements too. When I was on the team side, that was all fundraising for us. That all went back to our youth hockey program. So teams are honestly doing anywhere between $10 and $25 for those, and they're just writing a big check at the end of the year. So that could be a good community relations initiative. Also sponsorship inventory. Let that be video board announcements presented by Chick-fil-A, and every single video board announcement gets a $10 gift card to Chick-fil-A or something, just, and then everybody gets to donate back to a nonprofit at the end of the season. So
Yeah, you always say too, like anything that is consistent and repeatable is a sponsorship vehicle. Chuck a puck or jersey off the back, presented by whomever, right? We got to stop real quick because Ian won $100 Starbucks gift card. He's he's dancing in his chair. He's like,
Go. Save me coffee for a few weeks.
there you
speech.
go.
We need a speech. I'd like to thank my mom.
Like to thank the Maine Mariners. Like to thank Dash, the ECHL.
Well, don't forget to share, Ian. We'll get that over to you. Okay, player send-offs. This one's yours, right? That's where we left off, Carson?
Yeah, I've been
Cool.
seeing a lot more player-specific auctions recently. There's obviously the full jersey auction, which has its pros. Again, I'm a broken record, but changing the narrative. One team just did items all from their captain. It's a captain's bundle weekend and a captain's bundle auction. The Carolina Thunderbirds and the FPHL, there was a player, kind of what Jonathan is saying, is capitalizing on those moments, but it was his 300th game with the organization. So they ran a whole auction just for his 300th game. And I know that everybody's probably got somebody in their office that keeps track of those stats. So that's just a quick email of like, hey, can you alert me when this player scores his 50th goal or it's his 100th game or whatever that is, and capitalize on those moments. But kind of planning for the off season of like the he's back auctions or the player signing auctions. But also this time of year, you might have some retirements and fans might be saying goodbye to a player that they've known and loved for many years. So that could be very quickly like just photos of that player playing, like signed photos from that player for $50 or posters or whatever that is, but just kind of capitalizing on those moments too.
Yep. Cool, cool, cool. You want to handle this one too?
Sure. 60% of the ECHL teams are using our Dash MVP program. I know we talk about it a lot. Maine, I think, is our success story underneath it, but they've absolutely crushed it with the MVP program this year. They came on board to Dash in September, and the MVP program like jumped them to sixth in the league just by adding mini sticks and pucks and locker plates and coolers underneath jersey auctions that were just already doing well. They've transacted more than 100,000 in 5 months. So just kind of goes to show what the science behind the MVP program, right? That I always try to tell teams is like only have a certain percentage of fans in your market that can afford a $500 to $1,000 jersey 8 times across the year. Maybe that's 10%, maybe that's 15. It's different for everybody. But you've got 80% or 90% of fans that can afford a $20 puck or a $15 mini stick, right? And so you're doing all this marketing, you're doing all this promotion. It's a lot of legwork to get the word out there. Well, when fans get there, they see the jerseys at $1,000 and they're like, man, maybe I can't bid on the jersey, but look, like there's a mini stick that's in my price point. So just kind of capitalizing and getting that fan while they're there. Um, yeah, Jonathan, I don't know if you have anything to add about that. If anybody's curious about the MVP program or wants some more information, just let me know and I can shoot you over some details.
I agree with you. These big nights, just I would keep leaning into them, with 1,500 fans looking at your Dash page. I mean, there's going to be more people wanting to buy more things than just 30 jerseys. Ian has his hand raised.
Yeah, so I work for the Maine Mariners here. I'm in the finance department, but I get to see a lot of these things, and how these transactions happen. And the MVB program has been incredible for us. I mean, just having all of the locker room plates and the sticks out after the game, fans walk by and they say, "Oh, what's that? How do I get those? Oh, wow, that's cool. I didn't know they were doing that. How can I get involved?" So it also just looks really good to the fans walking by to see these themed items.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
that.
Ian's just saying that because he got coffee. You don't have to just say that because you got coffee.
I mean, you guys dedicated a whole slide to us. I gotta say something.
We paid him for that testimonial. This ad is sponsored.
Yeah, just add a sponsor. Cool. All right. April competition. Everybody knows we do this every month in an effort to drive more creativity and just recognize teams who do really well and lean into Dash. So April's competition is the team that has the highest number of bids on an auction activation. You could have one item, you could have 150 items. One thing I wish I would have added to this is like, what does success look like? We've had Norfolk run over 600 bids in one auction. That was a jersey auction. We've had several hockey teams who do an end of season auction who've had over 900 bids on those auctions. So that's probably what it's going to take to win this. And there's different ways and tactics you could do that. You could start the bidding at $1 and have $1 bids. You could load up a bunch of auction items and have a low bid increment. That doesn't mean that if your bid increment is $1, someone can't still bid $100 more. It's just the minimum increment. But we're happy to share ideas and examples of teams who have done that. And they winner receives a Dash mystery bundle of Dash people's favorite things. I already know what I'm putting in that mystery bundle, but I'm not going to say it because I have it sitting right there. Okay, let's get
It's a strawberry liqueur, isn't it?
it's hibiscus.
Hibiscus.
Okay, we'll wrap up. We've just got a few slides left and just want to hit y'all with some tech updates. So backing up just a little bit too, we've as a business have really made an emphasis and put quite a bit of a budget together to introduce new technologies, enhance Dash's UI, UX, help drive more conversions for fans, enhance the fan experience on Dash, and help teams generate more revenue and make your life easier. We have an amazing product designer who started in January and has basically redesigned the whole Dash experience. Um, Today, even if you log into your admin portal and if you haven't hit refresh, there's a whole new layout in there. We've kind of cleaned some things up so it's not as cluttered. Not that it was cluttered, but the idea is to reorganize that because we're going to start introducing more things on the admin portal. One being these fundraising initiatives. So I would say like 50% of the transactions that happen on Dash are for philanthropic efforts. We've had some teams who have said, hey, it would be cool to have a like goal meter, kind of like what's the I forget what it's called. What's the big GoFundMe? That's what it is. And so you will be able to include this on activations of your choosing, and they will be displayed on the fan-facing side too. I think this is a great thing for transparency with fans, and then I think it also gets them bought into raising more funds as well for your nonprofit endeavors. So basically, in the admin portal, there'll be a little tab here that says fundraising initiatives, and then the next screen on the right where you can title it up, put a quick description, set what the revenue goal is, and then select which activations are included in this fundraiser. So if you've got group jerseys, group 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've got like mini sticks and locker plates, you can select all those. And it will stand out on the fan facing side, look really good. But you guys asked for these things, and when enough people ask for these things, we build it. And that helps validate that like we're building things that teams want and will be useful for them too. And then we make sure as we build it, It's all things that y'all want. So here's just the admin portal update here. I tried to zoom in. Doing this on the slides isn't the greatest, but if y'all log into Dash today, you'll see this new layout. On the fan facing side, every fan has their own little My Locker. We are cleaning this up too. We've got one here that we just introduced about a month and a half ago where they can easily keep up to date with things that are live, like auctions. And this is really helpful for things like overtime as well, when they're bidding on multiple items, um, items that they've won, and then items that they have lost as well. We'll be updating this too very soon with a watch this item feature, which will be great for the fan, but it'd also be great for the teams because they'll be able to see how many fans are watching a particular item. So, like, let's say you've got $1,000 goalie mask and you're like, there's 1 day left. Why are there no bids? You can look and see, oh, well, there's 10 people watching this. So let's just keep the starting bid at $1,000 versus wondering, is it going to sell? Do we need to lower our price? So on the right side here, this is actually a screenshot from our design files. There's a little more clarity with trying to help fans understand like where are they at in like the bidding process or the types of items that they are purchasing, whether it's like an auction item, an instant purchase item, a ticket, which is a raffle item, and things of that nature. So we are wrapping up literally today, kind of the final touches of what the mobile app and the web view look like, and then we'll hand that off to the developers. But this is something that y'all will see next season, and I have a funny feeling with this cleanup, it's going to help drive more conversions for fans making purchases, opting into enter to wins, and things of that nature. So stay tuned for that. It's been a big lift. But with that established, we can go and add more things like blind auctions, all types of things. So we had to start there. I already talked about this blind auction in the watch list. And what else? Important. Oh, second to last. Important events. May, we're going to kind of do like a product release and launch heading into the summer and off season for sports teams or hockey teams and all teams really. But that'll be our next town hall. Will be in May, so we'll have a lot of cool things to introduce for everybody. In June, with ECHL teams, we'll be doing season recaps. So we'll compile all your stats. We'll want to buy everybody pizza in the office and just celebrate this year, evaluate, and then really lay some groundwork to like really help take things to the next level for next season as well. And Carson will kind of be driving most of that. And then we'll see everybody in Orlando as well. And then in July, we're going to release our own promo calendar. This is not an April Fool's joke. We got some cool, fun things planned. But if I keep talking, I'm going to give away the barn. And I don't want to do that. But it should be fun. And moments that we learned this year, like the $10 dash days. I don't know if there's several teams on this call that participated in that. That's actually that was our biggest Tuesday ever. We had like 35 teams, something like that, participate, and a lot of teams saying, hey, if you would have told us about this, a month and a half before, we could have done some stuff. So that's kind of the thought behind the promo schedule, is just to lay out the big days and moments that happen on Dash every single year, so that teams know what they are and they can lean in and we can lean in with them as well and just blow it up. I mean, how many fans have we had on Dash since the beginning of the year? It's like 380,000 fans. So just a lot of opportunity for teams to get in front of a lot of people, and leaning into those moments are really, really helpful for folks. And that's it. We just want to thank y'all for your time and attention and another great year. And it seems like every year we grow quite a bit. So this year, no different. I imagine next year in the summer will be relatively same trajectory. Carson, anything else?
don't think so. I think just the dash fiscal year is May 15 to May 15. So I'll be letting you guys know how close you are to hitting some year-over-year goals or beating last year's numbers across the next few weeks. If you're curious and I haven't gotten to you yet, please send me an email, and I'll let you know. But otherwise, yeah, you guys, yeah, I think you all literally know where to find me, so I'll be around.
Where are you actually? I don't know where you are right now.
Southern Arizona.
Southern Arizona. Cool. Southern Arizona and Carson at winwithdash.com.
Yep.
Well, Tara, thanks for helping us get the word out and everybody join in. I don't know if you want to add anything to wrap up, but we will make sure everybody gets this and we'll have it time stamped in the next, 24, 48 hours. Anything else, Tara?
Yeah, not much from my end. Thank you both for putting this together. A lot of really great activations that teams can start doing right away.